everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for checking in today. My name is Ashley with Of Fiction and Fantasy on Instagram and TikTok, and Ashley's Reads on Twitter, and this is the first time I've ever said that right on the first try. Today I am here to bring you my October TBR. So we're past, I actually have no idea what the date is. My calendar is on September. I decorated my bookshelf half correctly. So I put all of my Pokemon out, which is a November readathon that I'm going to tell you about at the end of this video, and not an October readathon. So I am taking part in a Disney readathon, which you can see by Cinderella and Evie from the Descendants movies. Those are Disney, and that's correct at least, but I was supposed to be spooky Disney today, and we're going with cozy October because let's be real, there's nothing scary about me. I don't do scary things. Even for like October, my house is like cozy autumn vibes and not Halloween vibes. Like we have some pumpkins, acorns, leaves. We don't have anything scary in our house. Like there are no bones. The only spiders webs that are in the house are the ones that I haven't moved outside yet. So yeah, cozy October it is. This month I am taking part in 2 readathons. The first one is Spoop Something, hosted by Spoopy. And this readathon, there are teams. You have to get through a haunted house, and I am on Team Spoop Shifters, which is also hosted by Spoopy. There are also rules to these readathons that you have to read specific books first. I have cheated, so I'll tell you the order that I'm supposed to read them in, but I have made a lot of very bad decisions this month involving arcs and book tours and just applying for things that I need to stop applying for. So we'll catch up the order eventually, but really Twitter is deciding what I read next at this point because I'm too stressed to make a decision. So let's move on. I am also taking part in the Magical Hop-a-thon, and this one is hosted by Rachel, and it is in honor of the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. So for this one, you get a park entrance ticket, and then you can visit the different parks and do attractions. And Rachel put so much effort into this readathon. Like, I am amazed, and so did Spoopy as well. They made like an entire like intro to the Spooptober readathon that was like filmed out like a horror movie intro. So both of them did incredible. I'm so excited to take part in both of these readathons, and I will get into the books. I have a notebook where I keep track of all of my books that I have been reading, but that has not been working out lately. I did not know I would be filming my TBR video today, so we are gonna go off of I have like a private book server that's like me and my brother, and I keep track of all of the readathons and like how far I am on each book and everything like that, and all of my arcs. It's the Spoopathon. Both Noah and I are participating in both of these readathons, so I'm very excited for that. We're both Spoop shifters in the Spoopathon. That's so strange to say. For prompt 1, it is to read a book that is less than 200 pages. For this one, I will be reading a book called Willow by Grace Parks, which is an arc that I received from NetGalley, so thank you to NetGalley and to the publisher, who I will list below because I did not write any of the publishers down, and lots of these books are arcs. So thank you to all of the publishers. All of you. Thank you. This is the one that is about a group of women, and they all meet in like a coffee shop once a month or once a week or something like that, and they all kind of just keep up with what's going on in their life. It kind of seems like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants-ish vibes, but like new adult genre. And I think this is the first of 6 books. Well, I think that however many women are at the coffee shop are how many books there are going to be. So the first romance is between, I assume her name is Willow, and she works at some kind of like tech company, and her romantic interest is the coffee shop owner, who is a technophobe. So I think that's kind of interesting. I did an internship in social media marketing, so her like kind of job seemed very interesting to me, and Michael despises social media, and I spend a lot of time on there for like obviously my book career. So I think that will be really funny to read, and it's very short, so I never read books under 200 pages, and that's great for my TBR because we have some chunky books this month, guys. I'm actually really high-key concerned. Prompt 2 is Something You Fear, which I also am getting bonus points for this being a buddy read. I will be reading a book that Noah chose. If you have watched my previous videos, you guys know that I don't really want to read any more J. Kristoff or Amy Kaufman books, so I'm finishing off this series, and I told Noah if he wants to read the spin-off series, I think that's what it is, that he can spoil it all for me and tell me what happens. But I will be reading Obisidio by Amy Kaufman and J. Kristoff. I did not get the book from the library because it is a lot of pages, and like I told you, I have a lot of chunky books, and it is not my priority, to be quite honest. So moving on. Prompt 3 is to read a book that is over 500 pages. I really need to stop putting these behind me when I film. That like makes no logical sense. I'm getting so much stronger every month, guys. I'm so proud of me. I just got those books out and then I realized that it's an ebook. Okay, I will be reading Little Thieves by Margaret Owens, and I have read the excerpt of this book on Goodreads. It is probably one of my most, if not my most, anticipated book for the month. I can't really explain to you why this is my most anticipated book of the month, other than that there are so many little snippets or like tropes that I have been reading from following the author on Twitter, or like people's like spoiler-free like quick reviews, and everyone's in so much pain after they finish reading it, and I really want a book that like emotionally compels me to tears. I'm really excited. I actually can't remember anything about the excerpt that I read either. It kind of gave me Anastasia retelling vibes, but I don't take my word on that at all. So there's like a girl who is pretending to be a princess, which is why it gives me Anastasia vibes. That could literally be the extent of it. There may be some kind of enemies to lovers or enemies to friends. Whatever it is, it has enemies in it. So maybe they're just like straight up enemies, but they had tension, I think. I don't know. Don't put this book on your TBR unless you research it, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I personally am very excited, and I really hope I get to that book, but I have so many books that I have to get to first, so we will see. Prompt 4 is Trick or Treat. So I put in a book that I really wanted to get to and a book that I really didn't want to get to, and everyone in Spoopathon's Discord server could decide. So my treat won, which was Kingsbane by Claire Legrand, and this book is the sequel to Furyborn by Claire Legrand, which I kind of buddy read with my friend Megan, and she told me that I should read this last month, and thankfully neither one of us got to this last month. As you can see, I have already started it, so I felt bad that I didn't get to it in October, and I really wanted to prioritize it this month, and Twitter told me to read it, so we're going with it. I am very excited. Furyborn, the first one, it's basically about this prophecy about the Sun Queen that will save the world and the Blood Queen who will bring ruin to it. That's not the exact quote in any way. It's better than how I put it. But essentially it's about two protagonists, and they are clearly both, one the Sun Queen and one the Blood Queen, but one definitely seems at least like they are supposed to be the good one and one of them the evil one. And I don't think that that is the case. So it's very much like morally gray characters put into really terrible situations, and it is so interesting because the story spans like thousands of years or something wild, and it's in completely different places, but the characters are so interconnected, and it was so interesting, and I'm very excited to get to the sequel. Also, the romance was so good. This romance emotionally compelled me. It may have been one of my favorite. It wasn't even like, it's so slow burn, like so slow burn. Don't read this if you want an insta love. And then the other, it's not like a love triangle. It's a very unique twist, and it's very like, I was thrilled reading this book like in a like kind of like on the edge of my seat way, and so, or the first book, and so I'm very excited to get to this book. And I will get my shameless rep out of the way. I am a rep for Chasing Brie Designs, and this is an Umbreon bookmark that she made, and you can get these for 10% off if you use Ashley10. Okay, ChasingBreeDesigns.com. Yes, I will probably be buddy reading that with Megan, and my battery's dying, BRB. And for the fifth and final prompt for the Spoopathon, I will be reading The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the third book in the From Blood and Ash. I think it just is it the Blood and Ash trilogy. I have not gotten my wrap up on books 1 and 2 yet, but I don't have super high hopes for this book, but I would just like to finish the series off. I have 30 minutes left before dinner that I can tell you guys about the Magical Hop-a-thon. So let's see if I can do it. As I told you guys, this readathon is based on the different Disney parks. I came from a very like thrifty childhood. I never had those like season passes or whatever it's called to go to Disney whenever I wanted. I did go to Disney World like one time. There was like a discount or something, and I spent most of my day at Epcot. So I don't know a lot. Like I think I did go to a lot of the kingdoms, but I know like nothing at all. I just mostly remember Epcot and loving it so much. So of course I picked Epcot as my first park. So my park entrance ticket is to read a book that is translated. And so for this one, I will be reading Dream a Little Dream by Kerstin Geir. I know absolutely nothing about this book. It's been on my TBR list for a really long time, and Kerstin Geir, I believe, is German based, and her book was written in German and then translated to English. I know that I want to read this book because when I was in high school, I read another series, which is, I have so much German roots, but I cannot pronounce anything in German. It's like Rubenrot. It essentially translated to English means ruby red, and it was this trilogy about like these time travelers and these like star-crossed lovers. It was very dramatic, and I'm sure it seemed kind of insta-lovey probably if I went back and reread it, but as a teenager, I loved that book series so much, and I don't even remember like the conclusion or what happened in the end. And I was like, I have to read another book by Kerstin Geir. So this is the perfect time to read this book, in my opinion. I hope to shortlist it because that's the book I have to read essentially to make it into any of these parks. So if I don't read that book, then I've lost this readathon assuredly. Once I am in Epcot, there are 3 different things. So one's like attraction, snack, and another one. The first one is Frozen, and that is to read a book that is hyped. So for this one, I will be reading What Once Was Mine by Liz Braswell. I keep telling everyone that What Once Was Mine is a Rapunzel retelling, but it's actually a Disney official book. So I don't think it's a retelling. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but this is a Rapunzel book, and it's over 500 pages. I think this would be a buddy read with my friend Courtney. I believe that she pre-ordered it. I'm not sure if she's already started it yet or not. And that's all that I know, that it is a Rapunzel book, and I know that it is beautiful wherever I put the cover, and I'm very excited to get to it. I think the book just came out as well, like September 7th. It's also a Disney readathon, so I'd like to get to it, but we'll see. The next one is World Showcase, and I had a different book picked for this, but I had spent all of the first few days of October reading a September book that I had to have up for a book tour, and after that I had already been approved for another book tour, which is a TikTok tour. So I'm very nervous for that because I am a novice to TikTok, so hopefully I can figure out how to do my assigned task and do it correctly and in a stylish way. Help. If you know how to do multiple songs in one TikTok, and you've done it, like send me your TikTok as an example, please, because your girl is struggling, and I've been watching like YouTube video classes on how to do it, and it seems like a lot of work, but I'm gonna do it because I don't half-ass anything. I hope I can say that. I have that book, which I'm about to show you now, and then I accidentally also signed up for reading a book within 30 days that is also an ARC, and it comes out tomorrow, and I don't know why I did this to myself, and I really want to read 2 book club reads and then do all of these buddy reads. So October is like a lot for me. This is the book that I will be doing a book talk tour of. This is The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker, and thank you to Inkyard Press so much for this copy. They sent me a physical copy instead of an ebook, I guess because it's for TikTok, but I'm so excited. I actually applied for this because I believe my friend Amanda told me about it, and she loved it so much because the main character is biracial, and that is not something that she sees a lot of in books. And this is an enthralling, unique fantasy with gorgeous prose and riveting twist, and a hashtag own voices story of a girl from two worlds who isn't welcomed by either. So she is a half British Reaper, half Japanese Shinigami. So I knew that it was own voices, and I knew that the main character was half British, half Japanese, and I knew that it was something like supernatural-ish, but I had no idea somehow that this is kind of like Scythe, and that they're like Reapers, and they essentially in the middle of the night go and take someone's soul. So like chapter 1, I opened it up and it was so like like the writing is great, but it was so like dark, and I was just like live tweeting Amanda like, wait, is this book about death? Like what? So I don't know how I didn't know that. It's like super gory as well. Like again, like still chapter 1, I was like, oh, I'm nauseous. So there's that. But the writing itself is very, like, I'm clearly invested in this story already, like by chapter 2. But it's dark. I think if you've read like the Scythe trilogy, you should be fine. Hopefully I'll update you guys. But it sounds really interesting, and I'm super excited to keep reading more of it. Next is Turtle Talk with Crush, which is to listen to an audiobook. So for this one, I will be doing Fairest by Marissa Meyer, which is a novella. It's still like, it's over 200 pages, I think, but it is in between the 3rd and 4th book of the trilogy of the series, so in between Cress and Winter. And Fairest tells the story, I believe, of Lavanna, the evil queen, who, yeah, I think she's based off of the evil queen from Snow White. I have heard very mixed things about this. I have heard that like people don't like this one anywhere near as much as the series because it's just about the villain who everyone hates. So I'm interested to see what I think of it, and honestly, after reading Cress, I'm not super excited for Winter. Like, I am more interested in listening to Fairest than I am Winter. I think Winter is based off of Snow White, but she gives me like Alice from Alice in Wonderland vibes, and I don't love Alice in Wonderland like at all. So that's it for Epcot. So you only need to get one park entrance ticket, so then I can park hop, or whatever it's called, to the Magic Kingdom, which will be Space Mountain, or a book with space themes or sci-fi. So for this one I chose Winter because like it does involve like aliens, I guess, because of the that's not what they're called. I can't remember what they're called. The aliens from the moon. So I will be listening to that one, which I basically went over. It is book 4 in the Lunar Chronicles series. Again, Winter is based on Snow White, I believe. So she is the stepdaughter of Queen Lavanna. And I am not going to say anything else because I think everything else would be a spoiler, and I don't know if even that's a spoiler to Cinder. So after that one, the next one is Cheshire Cat Tale, to read a book that is a sweet romance. So I had plans to read an arc for this one that I had needed to read this summer, but instead, as I mentioned earlier, I applied for an arc that there was only 9 spots left on Book Sirens, and it was one I really wanted to read, but I had to agree to read it within 30 days. So it will be the next book that I pick up, even though I said that I would pick up 2 other books next. So yeah, it's on my short list. It's right up to bat. It's right there. But I will be reading Storm to Spring by Atima Kim, and I have an ebook of this now, and I read the first one. It's very wild. Basically, the first one is about dragon riders who are also witches, and they have like their covens that have matriarchs, and the matriarchs have like the bachelorette kind of things to pick their consort, who is a male, because in this one it's kind of like Wonder Woman-ish vibes, where the men like don't really get a say in anything. Very interesting, like how many twists there are in this, and it's also like elemental powers and soulmates based on the red string theory, which is one of my like favorite headcanons in anything. Like, just saying those words out loud, you're probably like, what the hell kind of book is that? But it's honestly so interesting, and I gave it 5 stars, and I actually may have teared up at that one this spring. So I really like that. I read that for the Asian Readathon and for the Magical-athon, and it was a great time. So of course I wanted the sequel, so I got the copy of it, and it is called Matrons of Myang, I believe, the series name. So this book too is about completely different characters to my knowledge, and I actually don't know any of it. I didn't read the synopsis because I just wanted to jump right into it. So I don't know what characters it's about, and I can't wait to tell you in my wrap up. I hope it's a 5-star read because, guys, the summer has not been great, and my summer wrap up is coming, I think, hopefully my next video. I'm still waiting on Michael to film his intro challenge to his challenge, and so yeah, that is where we are sitting. Not great reads in the summer, so I'm hoping this autumn is better. Okay, final for the Magic Kingdom prompt is to start is Festival of Fantasy, or to start a book at 3 p.m. So for this one, I will be starting at 3 p.m. at some point in October, ideally. Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny, Meyer, Sain, which is also an ARC. So thank you so much to the publisher and to Edelweiss Plus for this one. Dark and Shallow Lies is set in Louisiana, and it's basically about this group of, they were children at the time. These babies were all born on the same day, and or week, or some kind of very short time frame, and they are sort of connected. They all have like similar power, or they all have some kind of like supernatural vibes going on. I think someone might be a clairvoyant, and one of them, like, they all grow up, and one of them moves away, who is the main character, I believe, and one of the ones who I think stayed in the town died, and I think it was some kind of mysterious causes. So she is coming back to go to the funeral, and obviously there's going to be a reunion of sorts. I'm assuming it's kind of like murder mystery, where they try and solve the murder with their like supernatural-ish vibe powers. It does sound really interesting, and the cover is so interesting. Like, I didn't even notice there was an alligator / crocodile. I'm from the suburbs. There was this reptile on the cover. I didn't even realize for like a whole 2 months of having it downloaded, but it's very cool. Finally, I will be doing Hollywood Studios. There's also Animal Kingdom, which Noah did the prompts for, but I don't have time to read all of these books. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is to read a new release. So for this one, I will be reading Between You, Me, and the Honeybees. I'm just gonna keep picking this book up from the library. This is my second checkout. I've just renewed it like 5 times. So I'm gonna keep picking this up because I requested it, and it's not fair if I ask the librarian for it and then I don't read it. And we're already into autumn. My honeycore self has gone into hibernation. And so I wanna go to like a pumpkin farm. I mean, I've already done that. I wanna go on like a hayride. I don't want to collect honey anymore. I make that sound like I like personally went out and collected honey, but I'm gonna get to this book eventually. Eventually, even if I have to buy it, so that I can stop getting it from the library and feeling guilty. And like, maybe it'll be a good book. Maybe. It's about a fair. I'm gonna end up reading about a fair over like Christmas Eve. It's about these 2 characters. Sorry y'all, I did not describe this. These 2, they're like rivals from like honey. I think they both sell honey or like make pies. Like, they both are in food related hobbies, and they're like rivals / enemies. Obviously, like, they're touching. Like, it's gonna be rivals / enemies to lovers. So I think it's rivals. They're not like blade to the throat, you know? They're probably not out to like murder one another. I think there's some like interesting plot twist. Like, she's been lying to her mom about something, and I heard that there's mental health rep in it. I don't know what. It's like anxiety or OCD. I'm less hyped now that it's not summer, but you know. Next up is Ronto Rap, Not Usual Genre. So for this one, Love People Use Things because the opposite never works, by the Minimalists. I already went off about this book in my September TBR, if you want to hear my rant. I'm gonna be a good, respectable booktuber. I'm not gonna rant this time. I'm gonna read it because I promised Bookish First that I would read it. Thank you so much to the publisher. Thank you to Celadon Books for this book. Thank you. I'll read it eventually. Next up is Oh yeah, that's a self-help genre, so that's why I picked that one. The next one is Indiana Jones, a book that I keep putting off. Look guys, I got the book. In the Woods by Tana French. You don't have to see an ebook anymore. So I got this. I actually went into my bookstore. I have been going there for months looking for this book, and they have had one Tana French book. The whole time, no one's bought it, which judging by the reviews that I've read on this book, like I'm not surprised. But I've been looking for this book, and I finally gave up. I was like, I'm just going to get an ebook. There was one of my 3 libraries has this book. One of them has the sequels, and not the first one. One of them is like, who is Tana French? So that's where we're sitting, and one had it, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm finally gonna read this in October. I'm gonna be a good book club member. I went online to reserve the book, and someone had already checked it out for the month. I just don't, like, this book is decently old, and it's not very popular. I don't know of anyone outside of my book club who has read it, and I was like, why? No one in Kansas reads except me. Why now? So I was so sad. I was honestly really grumpy and hangry about it, and I went to the bookstore and I just kind of like slumped down into my bench and was thinking about how I couldn't find any of the books I had wanted for my TBR list, and I was just kind of downtrodden staring at the floor when underneath the bench on like the bottom of the bookshelf, in like the wrong section too, In the Woods by Tana French. Please don't misunderstand, like, I've heard this book was not great, and I'm gonna give it like at best 3 stars, but I'm just so excited that I found it. Like, this bookstore is magical. I always go in and somehow find exactly the book I wanted for my TBR, even if it's completely unpopular. So I'm so excited that I found this book, and I'll probably unhaul it immediately after reading, which is good for my like unhaul ratio that Michael wants me to have. What is the book about? Glad that you asked. It's set in Ireland. So loving that. It's in Dublin, I think, and I think it's about like these kids who grew up together. Is it? 3 children leave their small Dublin neighborhood to play in the surrounding woods. Hours later, their mother's calls go unanswered. When the police arrive, they find only one of the children, gripping a tree trunk in terror, wearing blood-filled sneakers, and unable to recall a single detail of the previous hours. So it's a murder mystery set in Ireland, and I'm gonna like the Ireland part at least. Okay, that is it for my Disney Readathon. Is this over with? No, not yet. In September, I took part in the Magical Readathon, or the Orilium Readathon, hosted by G, and it was really fun, and I actually passed this readathon. I'm so hyped. I did have to do a little finagling from some books that I had read for another readathon, but it worked. I passed. I made it to Orilium, but there is a separate part of the readathon that everyone had until the end of March 2022 to finish creating their character, and I did finish one of those prompts, but there are 2 left, and I don't remember the prompts right now. So I'll just show you guys really quickly 2 books that I plan to read before April that I still need to read. And this one is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. It is book 2, and I am past page 750 of The Eye of the World. So it's possible that I'll start this in October. So I'm just putting it on the video. I could not describe to you The Eye of the World if I tried, even though I've read 750 pages. I'm like, is it about reincarnation? Like, I'm still about a bunch of people going on a journey, and there's a lot of like tension and fighting, and I think they're basically running from the devil, and no one can be trusted. And then House of Earth and Blood. I keep calling this book Crescent City, and I guess it's because it's right here, but that's the series title. Like, is anyone else confusing this and thinking that this book is named Crescent City? Is it just me? Was it ever at one point maybe named Crescent City? I don't know. But I will be reading this book, and this is the last Sarah J Maas book that I have left to read, and I would like to pre-order the next one, unless it's book 3 and I've already missed book 2. It's completely possible. So that is it for all of the books that I want to read. My Labradors are coming downstairs. I have already started a few of these, and I have a short list of 3 that I'm going to pick up immediately after because they're for a book club or a book tour, and after that it is free game. I have no idea if I will get to any of the other books, but I'm gonna try my gosh darn hardest, and I will get my summer wrap-up filmed very quick for the end of the video the Pokemon are all out on my bookshelf because we will be having a Pokemon readathon hosted by Jane. So go ahead and check Jane's channel out. I will be co-leading the fire team with Esme and I am so excited and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be from November 1st through November 18th to celebrate the new Pokemon game and I'm so excited and you guys should check out the video and join our Discord server if you would like to join. I will catch up with you guys soon. Bye.